If you want your Erudition character that can also act like a Nihility one, then ANAXA might be the answer. But why him? What exactly can he do? Okay, wait until you watch this video because after this you will know ANAXA's full kit and his unique traits. Stay tuned until the end as I will also be giving the pros and cons of this character. So let's get started. ANAXA is a 5-star limited character with the wind element, following the path of Erudition. He is a unique secondary DPS and at the same time quite unusual because he has abilities similar to Nihility characters. He can apply AoE weakness implants to enemies. After that, when an enemy has at least 5 weaknesses, the damage they take also increases. ANAXA can also deal additional bounce damage after using his AoE ultimate, which makes him a viable candidate for a sub DPS in a Herta team. The stats you gain after leveling up and unlocking all of ANAXA's traces are wind damage, defense, and crit rate. His basic attack is nothing too special, as he simply deals wind damage to a single enemy, scaling at 100% of his attack. Despite being a Erudition character, ANAXA's skill only attacks a single enemy. However, after hitting the target, it will trigger 4 instances of additional damage to random enemies, with each instance dealing 60% of ANAXA's attack. This bounce type attack prioritizes enemies that haven't been hit yet, making it effective in both multi-target fights such as pure fiction and single-target encounters. His ultimate is what makes ANAXA lean more towards a Nihility-like role. His ultimate deals AoE wind damage while also inflicting enemies with sublimation for 1 turn. When affected by sublimation, enemies gain 7 weaknesses at once. Additionally, if the enemy has no control resistance, which is likely similar to effect resistance, they cannot take action until the sublimation effect ends. The real advantage of ANAXA's weakness implants, however, lies in his talents. Every time ANAXA uses his basic attack, skill, or ultimate, he will apply 1 weakness implant to the enemy for 3 turns. This implant will prioritize a weakness that the enemy does not already have. Once the enemy has at least 5 or more weaknesses, ANAXA will inflict them with exposed nature, which increases the damage they take from ANAXA by 60%. Additionally, when ANAXA attacks an enemy in this state with his basic attack or skill, he will get enhanced skill, but this enhanced skill does not consume any skill points. Now let's move on to his traces. ANAXA's first trace provides strong buffs when there are multiple Erudition units in the team. If there is only 1 Erudition unit, which means just ANAXA himself, he will get a massive 140% crit damage bonus. This is actually incredibly high amount. However, if there are 2 or more Erudition characters in the team, the entire team will receive a 30% damage boost instead. This is one of the main reasons why ANAXA fits so well in the Herta team, since their traces complement each other. Herta provides 80% crit damage bonus to the entire team, while ANAXA provides additional 30% damage boost when another Erudition unit is present. His second trace helps with energy regen, which is crucial since his ultimate plays a key role in applying full weakness implants and enabling his enhanced skill. At the start of each turn, if there are no enemies affected by exposed nature, or if the enemy has fewer than 5 weaknesses, ANAXA will recover 30 energy. This makes his ultimate more accessible, ensuring that he can maintain consistent weakness implants. His third trace further enhances his power by granting defense ignore. For each weakness an enemy has, ANAXA will ignore 3% of their defense. Since there are a total of 7 elements in the game, this means he can ignore up to 21% of the enemy's defense. This is actually quite overpowered, as it allows him to deal significantly more damage, especially against high defense enemies. ANAXA's ability to apply weakness implants is also supported by his technique. In the open world, his technique inflicts the terrified status on the enemies. But when entering battle, he will immediately apply weakness implants to all enemies based on the element of the ally who initiated the fight. For those planning to invest further in ANAXA, pay close attention to his eidolons. His first eidolon allows him to immediately restore 1 skill points the first time he uses his skill in battle. If his skill successfully hits a target, it also reduces the enemy's defense by 16% for 2 turns. Based on this eidolon, ANAXA is likely to be an SP neutral to negative unit, which could actually make SP management more difficult in Herta team without her signature light cone. His second eidolon increases his additional instance damage by 3, On top of that, when he uses his ultimate, his speed increases by 12% for 2 turns. His 4th eidolon gives a massive 40% attack boost every time he uses his skill. This effect stacks up to 2 times and lasts for 2 turns. His final eidolon provides a permanent damage boost in battle. Each time he inflicts the Ascension state, his damage dealt increases by 3% of the original damage, stacking up to 5 times. So that sums up ANAXA's eidolons, at least for version 1. Personally, I think it's still too early to determine which eidolons are worth pulling for. If ANAXA truly turns out to be SP neutral to negative, making SP management difficult in teams like the Hertas, then his first eidolon would be recommended to help mitigate that issue. However, if you can ensure 100% uptime on his ultimate, possibly by using Energy Rope, Von Whack Planner for the 5 energy regen, and even the Eagle Set Relic to gain extra advance with each ultimate, and if you can consistently apply at least 5 weakness to maintain his enhanced skill, then I don't think E1 is a must-have. But before we decide on his eidolons, let's first take a look at his signature light cone. ANAXA's signature light cone provides 18% crit rate and 10% energy regen at the start of each turn. Additionally, whenever the wielder actively uses ability, enemies that are already debuffed will have their defense reduced by 6%, stacking up to 2 times. From both his signature light cone and traces, it's clear that ANAXA is designed to spam his ultimate as much as possible. His LC helps achieve this goal by boosting his energy regen, ensuring more frequent ultimates. Aside from ANAXA, I think Jade could also benefit from this light cone, especially in Purification mode. The passive condition only requires actively using abilities, which might even include follow-up attacks. If that's the case, then Jade could maximize this light cone effect, especially when paired with someone like Gallagher, who can easily use his ultimate to apply debuffs to enemies. This would ensure that Jade can fully stack the defense reduction effect from the light cone. Has ANAXA replaced Jade in Herta teams? In my personal opinions, ANAXA is slightly better, but only by a small margin. The synergy between Jade and Herta in Purification is undeniable. The more enemies there are, the more energy Herta gains, leading to more follow-up attacks from Jade. However, after breaking down ANAXA's kit, it turns out that he provides an overall stronger buff compared to Jade, though the difference is not massive. Jade does over a 30 flat speed boost to Herta, which is great advantage, but her biggest weakness, along with the Herta, becomes evident when facing a single remaining enemy. Take the current Memory of Chaos as an example. In the current cycle, after breaking Nikador's Pierce with ease, you are left with only Nikador himself. At this point, both Herta and Jade's effectiveness drop significantly, since their damage output thrives in multi-target scenarios. This is where ANAXA's bounce type attack becomes valuable, helping to solve Herta's weakness against single target enemies. So yes, Herta with ANAXA can perform well in MOC, just as Herta with Jade is great in Purification. However, I personally don't think Herta struggles that much in Purification, meaning Jade could still be replaced with Serval as an energy battery if necessary. That said, ANAXA has a slight edge over Jade, but still self-buffing capabilities and potential as a hyper carry are also big factors that make him an appealing choice. So ANAXA is actually a pretty solid unit for version 1. He has a huge self-buff, with traces that grant him bonus crit damage and a team-wide damage boost when 2 Erudition units are in the team. On top of that, he has the ability to ignore enemy defense, which further increases his damage potential. Thanks to his extra crit damage from traces, his character building is relatively easy. For his body piece relic, all you really need is crit rate, while the rest of the substats should ideally focus on speed or attack. ANAXA's bounce type attacks prioritize targets that haven't been hit yet, making him effective in both single target and AoE scenarios. This versatility allows him to thrive as either a hyper carry main DPS or a dual DPS. Since his traces also grants him additional energy on basic attacks, we can safely assume that he is SP positive, which is a great trait for teams that rely on skill points. That said, his trace granted defense stat is not very useful, and it would have been better if it provided attack or speed instead. His weakness in plan gimmick does not bring any major benefits for Herta teams, which typically prefer defense reduction to amplify her damage output. While ANAXA does provide defense reduction, it's unfortunately locked behind his signature LC and Eidolon 1. As a secondary DPS, his buffing potential is somewhat limited, offering only a 25% boost when 2 Erudition units are present, which is not as impactful as other dedicated support options. Do you guys have any additional pros and cons to add? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So that wraps up ANAXA's full kit breakdown. Personally, I think he's a solid unit overall. His AoE weakness implant gimmick without any effect hit rate requirement is really strong. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Are you guys satisfied with version 1 ANAXA, or do you think his kit needs adjustments? And if you found this information helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. I'll be covering more of Honkai Star Rail news soon, so stay tuned. I will see you humans in the next video.